hell is empty, and all the devils are here. You know what that means. Welcome back to D&D Horror Stories, where I go on Reddit so you don't have to! Got a new week. Getting ahead of things. It's a good week, though. Very happy about it, but I'm very tired. Nonetheless, we have horror stories to read, don't we? For those of you who do not know what this is or how it works, we are going to r/RPG Horror Stories on Reddit, taking the top few from these week and reading them out for our schadenfreude pleasure. Then, at the end of it, to regain some faith in humanity and make us feel better about ourselves and things around us, we are reading an RPG GloryStory, so stay tuned for that. With pleasantries out of the way, let's jump in. This first one is titled, GM abandoned BBEG instead of just toning them down. Was I in the wrong? Oh, I love it when we have questions at the end of these. Guess we'll have to discuss at the end, won't we? Let's see what happens. Hey, first time posting here, so feedback if I mess something up is always welcome. I'll cut to the chase on this one. So I play a Pathfinder 2e in a group of 4 people, including myself. In this particular campaign, I was a player and one of the others was the GM. I had a small argument about some other things going on in the campaign with them, but to make a long story short, I had some issues with how they had been directing us. Directions were unclear, we had a guide who was really annoying, etc. We had arrived at a small town where inhabitants were very hostile. Not murder you on sight kind of hostile, just really rude. We ran into a character we had met only once who had previously screwed us over a bit. His name was Benny. Benny was really annoying. The GM had been going for a kind of character you love to hate, but to me it just felt way too much. To the point where my character just straight up decided to ignore the guy since talking to him seemed like a waste of time. The main thing to take away was that he wanted us to be part of some kind of performance he was going to put on involving the town. Okay. This seems like a very odd mixture of railroading and then not giving directions. I don't know if that's possible. It kind of makes my brain hurt to think about it. But, you know, I suppose in the realm of probability, anything's possible. But also, putting annoying characters in there is really fun. It's really fun, especially if you know exactly how to get underneath a character's skin. But doing it too much or doing it to every character, that's a no-no. Don't do that, DMs. So when we did our business in this town, sneaking into a temple to find some info about the main plot, when we go to leave, we find out that Benny has put the whole town under some kind of mind control / hypnosis that was planning on killing them all off for being rude or whatever. Whoa, Benny, my boy, what you, that seems like, I really hope that this is a plot that we go into where we try to stop Benny. Listen, you can't kill somebody because they're rude. That's how you turn into a murder hobo. And we aren't murder hobos. But honestly, I'm thinking that this is going to devolve into a trolley problem. Do you kill a whole town of rude people because they were rude to you? Or do you kill one rude dude because he thought the other ones were rude and he's going to kill all of them instead? Interesting philosophical conundrum. Let's see how they handle it. We tried to stop him because, you know, rudeness doesn't justify mindless murder. They chose the trolley problem. It quickly becomes obvious that this guy is many times stronger than us. I hit him with a nat 20 crit and all it does was sorta kinda annoy him, causing him to hit me with a stunning spell in some kind that I don't think could have rolled that high enough to beat. Later in the fight, me and another player are stunned and unable to act. The other player pipes up that they are getting a little annoyed at how aggressively this guy is using debuffs. The GM says to wait. Then it comes around to Benny's turn, and he decides to turn off our debuffs because we were boring him. Okay, so this doesn't really seem like horror per se, like in the usual sense that we're here, like genuinely bad stuff. This sounds like annoying back and forth on the side of it. I think the horror might come in the way it resolves. I'm hoping that like they just talk it out. But when have these stories ever involved just talking something out, and it succeeded? Yeah. Basically, the GM had him hit us with unavoidable debuffs just so that he could remove them himself, to show how much of a bastard he was, I guess. Needless to say, I was pretty annoyed. This is where I'm not proud of myself. Here we go. I don't deal with my emotions in the best way. In this instance, I basically chose to stop talking because I didn't want an argument. As I said before, we had argued about something else last time. Afterwards, the others asked if I was good, and I tried to skirt around it, but it was really obvious I wasn't. So finally, I told the GM how I felt. that their attempt at making a hateable character had backfired completely and just made me dislike the game itself. Oh, sweet baby child. This sounds like a you problem. Dead honest here. It happens with these stories, but the GM isn't the bad guy in this scenario. He was just creating an interesting character. He was just trying to make a character that was cool. When I say stuff like this, usually it backfires on me because the GM usually does something weird. So hopefully that doesn't happen, but, you know, I'll take my lumps if it does. The other player who had spoken up earlier sort of agreed, though not as heartily as I did. They asked the GM if they could maybe tone down the annoyance factor a little, but the GM seemed to believe that they simply couldn't without ruining the character. So finally, after a discussion that went way too long, they basically admitted that this guy was meant to be the BBEG, and that they were just going to get rid of him. Now I feel like a jerk because I didn't want to get rid of the guy. I just wanted him toned down. Okay. GMs, stick to your guns. Like, they made an annoying character. Like, they made a truly evil BBEG who's trying to commit mass murder and is also extremely annoying and you hate him. You also introduced him earlier on in the campaign where it's like, this is a guy that you love to hate, you know? And then completely, like, went on to, oh no, it's actually a guy that we hate to hate, you know? OP and the other friend, in my humble opinion, are wrong. They are extremely wrong. They should have been like, man, I hated that guy. He was so annoying. I can't believe that you put him in there. And the GM should have been like, yeah, I know, right? It's going to feel real good when you beat him, right? That's what I'm talking about, you know? Now, this story happened a while ago, and we are all still friends, so you may ask why I'm posting about this. It's because fucking Benny still hangs over us like a cloud. Every now and again, she'll bring him up and mention how disappointing it was to get rid of him, which makes the conversation always turn awkward, cause like, what do I say to that? I either say nothing or try to articulate what I didn't like, which makes her defensive. So, at the end of the day, I want to ask you all out there, was I in the wrong? It really sucks because I like this friend a lot, but they can be so insensitive at times. And they act like Benny was lost in some kind of freak accident or something. Edit, just remembered another detail, may help illuminate my frustrations. So after all this was said and done, and the GM said he was officially scrapped, I asked what the intended backstory and stuff was. Basically, the GM told me that this guy had been raised well in a rich household. No real issues or grudges or anything bad. He was just a prick because he was one. That's it. I'm not making that up. That was going to be his backstory. Dude had everything handed to him and was just meant to be hateable. Nothing more. For the record, I feel like this could have worked, but not for the main villain. God damn it. OP is wrong. Friend's wrong. DM also being a jerk? You know, yes. DM could have taken the advice and toned down the character a little bit. Right? That could have been a deal. But he's a BBEG. He's meant to be annoying. He's meant to be evil. That sort of deal. Backstory aside, the DM seemed to have succeeded in making the BBEG somebody that you want to take down. You know? Was it too annoying? Who's to say? It seems like this was supposed to be like a first true fight with the BBEG that would leave you like licking your wounds and running with your tail between your legs, that sort of deal. And the DM succeeded, right? That's how that works. But also, OP bashing the DM about this, ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Come on. You're mad at a DM for making a good BBEG? Debuffs. Absolutely. Why wouldn't you want it that? You know? In that case, you learn to counteract that in the second interaction, or the third interaction, or in the final interaction, whatever it takes, you know? And then also DM holding it over them like a cloud. That's a shitty move. You know, that's really shitty. And them saying that the DM can be so insensitive at times, I'm wondering if there's more to the story than that. Like, what sort of insensitivity is the DM doing? You know, that sort of deal. But also, on the other hand of things, if they just make annoying characters for you to go up against, or in the campaign or something like that, Come on, guys. Come on. Be a grown-up. It's a plot hook. Get over it. Nonetheless, I see where both sides are coming from. And I see where both sides are wrong. That's just my opinion, though. Alright. On to the next. This one is a short one, but I thought it was very funny. It's a horror story, technically, but it's lighthearted. This one is titled, Our DM decided to connect my PC and another PC's backstories by making them brothers from the same royal family that got secretly separated at birth. And it is one sentence that reads, Guess who commissioned ship artwork of the two characters making out a week before the big plot twist reveal? Call that Louisiana royalty. That was a bad joke. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Edit, for context, we had a no flirting rule in game. Wait, what? Fuck. For context, we had a no flirting rule in game, but out of game jokes and writing scenes happening off camera was totally allowed. So, my friend and I decided to take the joke to the next level and commission some silly artwork about it. In the post I made, it sounded like some kind of hot softcore NSW piece, but it was just a doodle based on a meme. Oof! Oof! Okay, maybe listen to the rules. maybe the rules are there for a reason, and oh boy, use kissing cousins. Kissing brothers. Fuck. In conclusion, my friend and I were in on the joke. Our poor DM had no idea that we were joking about it until before the season. And we had to toss away the epilogue ideas we had for our characters. It was awkward at first, but now we joke about it all the time. Also, if you're writing off scene things, make sure to tell your DM about it. Maybe you'll get a little insight into it. This is where communication and openness comes into play. Communication, very important. Transparency, very important. Consent, very important. In this one, more ways than one. I thought that was very funny. Alright, moving on. Alright, so this next one has a bigotry warning, and after the story, while I'm editing, I will figure out all of the warnings that it actually has in it, and I will put the warnings up here with the timestamp of when the story ends. So, go ahead and jump to that timestamp, and we will join you at the end of this for the RPG GloryStory. This next one is titled, You're Attacking My Religion, the story of a Christian player who took things too far. I have my opinions on that religion. I'm wondering if this is going to confirm any of them. Let's see. Before we get into things, while this player is a religious person, I know all religious people aren't like this. Anyway, I've been playing TTRPGs on and off for the past few years, but found myself dry after leaving a long-time group of friends. So I went on the most reputable place possible to find a game, request for online TTRPGs in nerd shops. One Discord invite later, I was on a server meeting the cast. DM. The DM of our party, actually an absolutely excellent person with a few flaws that made this story horrific. Fundy. The problem player, a very religious person who enjoyed passionate sermons. Fuck. None. That character descriptor. Just, I'm like, oh, I know exactly what this person's like. I don't like it. God damn. A few other players were present, but they didn't contribute to the story in any major way. We got to character creation, and I decided to pull out my usual character, a paladin who broke her oath because she was tired of being strict and holy. She was constantly a bit jaded, foul-mouthed, and sat at a 45-degree angle in her seat, being generous. Fundy played a character of the... Fuck it, I'm gonna call it God, because it was definitely meant to be. He had Christian tenets, he often spoke in Bible verses, so on and so forth. Ugh. Ooh. No. Listen, I'm traumatized. That's why I'm like this. I'm traumatized. God damn it. Yeah, the trauma wasn't even from my deacon grandfather. It was from other things surrounding the religion. But that's a story for another time. Oh god. Session 0 went pretty well, and afterwards Fundy messaged me. He wanted our characters to have a backstory together. Basically, he wanted the church I left to be his, and he was trying to lead me back to the Lord. Oh god. I'm gonna say that so many times in this, and I promise you, they're all on purpose. Basically, he wanted the church I left to be his, and he wanted to lead my character back to the Lord. I agreed because I thought it'd be fun RP stuff, and I had no intention to have my character return to God. Agreeing was a bad idea. Most downtime was spent with Fundy trying to convince my character to abandon her sinful ways and return to his loving embrace. Fucking A. Jesus Christ. My character, being a bit of an abrasive prick, would tell him to shove off, or if he's so loving, why is the world so fucked up? Boom. This is great. Oh, I'm enjoying this. Every time I did this, I heard an exasperated breath from his microphone. Eventually, another player messaged me. She liked how our characters interacted and wondered if they could begin an in-game relationship. I agreed, and this went pretty well. Her character started to draw mine out of her edgy, brooding shell, and the two of them shared some pretty adorable moments. Fundy didn't like this. Oh, is little Mr. Religion gonna pray the gay away? Fucking A, Jesus Christ. Oh my god. His character's long tirades now mentioned her as well. He'd say things like, you don't want to drag her down the path as well, and women should not lie with another. Fucking god damn it, I knew it. Women should not lie with one another. You need a man of the cloth, not another woman. Yo, okay, evil tip of the day, right? I would lean into it more and have like one of those fade to black scenes in game. Don't describe it, but definitely imply it, you know? I think that'd be fun. Evil tip of the day. My character would try to intimidate him to fuck off at that. After the session, I messaged the DM to say that Fundy's rhetoric was making me uncomfortable. The DM said that Fundy wasn't like that in real life. He was just playing his character. Eventually, I bet you not. I would bet good money that no. God damn it. Eventually, Fundy posted some art of our characters. AI generated art at that. My character was depicted as a blonde girl with pale skin and gorgeous plate armor. Now, dear readers, my paladin was black, with dark brown hair and studded leather armor. When I brought this up to him, he said, well, this is what I imagined her to look like. But whatever you say. Jesus Christ. So many layers. So many layers. We got homophobia and racism in here. Let's rack them up. Let's see how many sins this Christian is committing. I was a bit perturbed at this, and I messaged the DM again. He said something along the lines of, I can't change what already exists, but I'll talk to Fundy. I don't know if he did. Okay, another thing, DMs out there, if your players come to you with a genuine concern about some troubling actions that another player is taking against them, maybe take it seriously. You know? Again, this is supposed to be a fun, safe, and welcoming environment for anybody to be whatever they want to be, you know? And if somebody's trying to take that away from somebody, get them out of there. Eventually, things broke down. The PC my character was attached to died, and my character retreated back into her shell. She took it badly, becoming moody and confrontational. Fundy saw this as time to preach to her again. Fucking goddamn it. Talking about how this was a prime time to repent for my sins and return to my father, so she may be honored in heaven. My character said, go away or my next sin will be cutting you down. Oh! Fucking hard as fuck! God damn! Let's fucking go! Oh my god, what a line! I want to put that on a shirt. Go away or my next sin will be cutting you down. Oh my god. That is lovely. I'm going to add it to the board. God damn. This was just intended as an empty threat, as I'd done these to other PCs and never followed up. Even having my character apologize for being a tool later. Fundy didn't take it like that. Fundy challenged my character to a duel, saying that if he won, she'd have to return to the Order. Given this was kind of a bad cleric versus an optimized to hell and back paladin, I absolutely whipped his ass. My character healed him, and I decided to be a bit of an ass, saying, maybe if you spent more time learning to fight, you'd be able to convince me. Fundy flipped out, screaming about how I was a cheater, a sinner, a racist, a sexist, a homophobe, and now I should just get some Christian husband to take pity on me. He ended his initial screaming rampage with, "And you're attacking my religion." Oh, fucking get over it. God damn it. This is a classic case of projection. A classic case of projection, you know? Because Fundy literally lists every single thing that he is. And he's also attacking their religion. I don't know what their religion is, but he's trying to shove their fucking religion down their throat, and that's attacking a religion in a sort of way. Don't force your religion onto other people. It's not fun. It's not nice. Sometimes your religion does real harm to people, and they have trauma surrounding it. So, no sympathy at all. The DM kept trying to calm him down, but he kept screaming and screaming. Eventually, I left the call, and the DM sent me a message later apologizing and saying how he didn't see this coming at all. I told him that he was stupid for not seeing it coming, and I was giving an ultimatum. DM is stupid for not seeing this coming. The signs were there. The red flags were popping up. Either he kicks Fundy or I'm leaving. The DM agreed, and he made some mistakes and kicked out Fundy, saying his character died in our duel. Fundy sent me a few private messages later, continuing his berating and using of slurs, demanding I stop being into women and come to God, or I'd be unloved and burn in hell. I called him a bitch and blocked him. Fuck yeah, you did. Hell yeah. Oh my god. Lessons, lessons, lessons abound. DMs, listen to your players. Look at the red flags. Keep a finger on the heartbeat of everybody at the table, you know? Religious people. Not all religious people are bad. Not all Christians are bad. But don't shove your religion down somebody's throat. Especially if they don't want it. Also remember that Christianity is a faith built off of love and acceptance. Very important. I don't have anything else to say or else I'm going to go into a tirade. And I'm going to step off my soapbox now. So, on to the next. Alright, well that last story was god-awful. Time to regain some faith in humanity, shall we? With an RPG GloryStory. For those of you who do not know what an RPG GloryStory, it is the opposite of a horror story. It's where things go right. Things go wrong, but in a funny way, not at the expense of others. Something funny happens, not at the expense of others. Notice how I'm saying not at the expense of others a lot? That's very important to these stories. And this one I'm getting from r/RPG GloryStories, and it is called Baddest Ash. I'm very excited for it. So, we just recently started a new campaign with my favorite DM, who happens to be my boyfriend. He's an awesome storyteller who ran a 4-year-long campaign that took us from level 1 to 20. Now we're in a level 3 to 15 time travel plot. Although this particular Tale of Glory doesn't involve much in the way of police box shenanigans. We have a party of 4. Zeke, an undead white paladin. Gideon, a half-elf cleric of sanitation. Of sanitation? It's either sanitation or satanization. I'm good for either one. Sylphie, a fairy rogue, Psyknife. Ashleen Pinkettle, a aberrant archface Sorlock. For context, my character is basically the drummer of a metal band I created for another campaign, and she goes by Ash, or Bad Ash. She has magical abilities due to family curse that was eating away her mind and has been taught to show others positivity in the face of it. I love this cast of characters so far, and I'm very excited to see where this goes. Also, heavy metal Sorlock band that goes by the name of Bad Ash. Hell yeah, I love it. Our tale begins like any other good D&D story, with a couple of natural ones. For some reason on our first session, my dice decided to stab me in the back and railed me with a ridiculous rolls. Right at the start, we wake up in a few clean beds inside of what appears to be an abandoned castle. We make our first perception check. My first roll in the game was a nat. I immediately go, ooh, that's not a good sign, as we go through the empty castle. Things don't get any better. A perception here, a perception there. I get a 6 and a 5 and a 2. The dice are against me. I make an Arcana check, finally at 12 after bonuses. The DM looks at me with pity and gives me at least a scrap of info to move us along in the story. Eventually, it happens. As one does, in any abandoned castle, on an unknown island, Zeke pisses off a giant wasp for funsies. We had split up at the time due to lack of enemies, so Sylphie and I rushed to his location. As a rogue, she makes it there first and starts blasting the creature with psychic blades. Zeke slashes at the beasts a few times, finishing with a thunderous smite. might, and Gideon manages to end the battle with max damage, Sacred Flame. Ashleen stared in awe and simply said, "I trust you all inherently with my protection." This happened again in the next small combat. Everyone was together this time, but due to the curse of the dice, it's a nat 1 for my initiative. 3 total. The others swiftly finished the minor enemies, and Ash breathed a sigh of relief. They were bugs. She likes bugs. She had gotten to her turn first. She may have even tried to persuade them, although they were maggot swarms, so the word try is doing all the heavy lifting here. It went on like this for the day. Ash basically succeeded at maybe 2 of the 20-ish rolls she made that day. It's fine. Though, as the narrative of her being a simple drummer with a couple of spells for emergencies, totally protected by wall of blades, shields, and daggers, was actually pretty entertaining. And if you're wondering if this changed in session 2, nope. Sylphie's player brought over a tiny jail cell to put our dice in as an example to others, and I'm thinking that, at least for my dice, the example didn't really take. That is, until session 4. Also, just having a character completely built around nope, I'm putting up protection spells and I'm gonna stand here. I love that. That's really cool concept. There's like, I don't want to do the damage, I just know how to protect myself. That's an awesome concept. You see, by session 4, we had made it out of the massive dungeon, into rolling beautiful hills covered in rainbow flowers and giant snails. Ash, being the whimsical sort, immediately abandoned the rest of the dungeon to go hug a snail. The DM had me roll for animal handling to make friends with it. Nat 20. He asked what I do next, and I hop on the snail to try and ride it. He asked for a second animal handling check. Nat freaking 20. I kid you not. I didn't weigh the dice or cheat. I would do nothing of the sort. It was destiny. I had a giant snail mount now, and his name is Henry. I call those at my tables a fixed point in time. When you roll 2, numbers back to back, that moment wasn't meant to happen exactly that way. And I love that it happened for stupid little shit like this. Especially it being nat 20s. Oh my god, I love it. And I love Henry. I don't even know Henry, but I love him. Then my dice flaked a little bit. There were a few bad perception checks, though it would be a 9, then maybe a 16, then a 5. It was pretty fair, to be honest. We end up finding a room there that had a swarm of carnivorous butterflies, and they are vicious. They attacked Gideon the first round, but seemed to miss. We're able to nearly cut the swarm in half. As usual, I got my last move of the round. You see, in this campaign, we had an inside joke about Ash warning people before she throws out her Eldritch Blast at a door, or oil and flame into a room. Thus, we came up with a random safe word, which was survive. Ash looks away, not wanting to kill these so far harmless butterflies, and shouts, "I really hope you survive," and shoots them with an Eldritch Blast. Nat 1. Oh, thank goodness everyone did survive. That's right, my first actual turn after 6 combats, and it was a natural 1. The dice went to jail. As they should. Put your dice in dice jail. If not, hit them with a hammer. You know, I don't have my hammer in immediate reach anymore, but you get the... Imagine there's a hammer here. Also, having a safe word because spells can be volatile is really funny. It's a really cool in-table joke. Inside jokes at a table make a game, you know, and they're things you remember for years afterwards. It is so much fun. Then, after the butterfly turn, they managed to down Gideon in a single hit due to some really unlucky rolls. Ash stares in shock at the death of her new friend, as the others swat at the swarm, slowly whittling away at their numbers. And then, on Ash's turn, if the dice gods could hear my plight, I say both in and out of character, nah, fuck that. Die. And I didn't get a natural 20, but a 16 on the die with her hex applies, turned into an 18 damage on the bloodied enemy as an Eldritch Blast wipes out most of the swarm. The DM lets me chuck the knife through the last of them as a bonus action, netting another 6 damage and slicing through the last 4 butterflies in a single shot. It was truly glorious. Oh my god, we love it when that happens. That is beautiful. A beautiful character moment. Just like dire circumstances, I have full belief that the dice listen to you when you need it the most. We've seen it so often in Critical Role when they need it the most. They are rolling nat 20s left and right, you know? And this one is exactly it. It wasn't the most exciting story, I'm sure, but it was exciting for me, dang it. Imagine never getting to engage in combat, and the first time you hit someone, it's not only a kill, but an important character moment. Now she understands that she too can contribute to this party, even help them thrive due to her eldritch power. She is now truly the baddest of Ashes. Yes, she is. Oh my god, I love Ash. And such a pivotal character moment. I I mean, that's really what D&D is. It's telling a good story, and so far they've told an amazing story, and I'm very happy about that. All right. That made me feel warm and fuzzy inside. I'm very happy about that. But nonetheless, thank you so much for watching this and reading these stories with me. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe and check out the other videos on my channel. I've got so many other Reddit stories that are waiting for you. The Glory story at the end. If you don't watch the horror stories, watch for the Glory story. It's about Ugg the Caveman, and you need to hear the story of Ugg the Caveman. It brought a tear to my eye. But also, I've got other stories. I did a deep dive into Dungeons and Dragons. I'm doing a deep dive into Call of Cthulhu next. Down in the comments, go ahead and tell me your most pivotal character moment, where the dice just lined up perfectly and you had amazing luck in that sense, and it really changed the course of the campaign. I would love to read those stories and talk with you about them. Keep an eye out for more videos coming out in the future, but until that time, I will say Auf Wiedersehen, tschüss, and I will catch you in the next one.